Testing. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Matt Link here with the Walton Clinic of Chiropractic. We are going to be getting started here in just a couple of moments, so just hang tight and we'll get you going. I want to make sure we have allowed enough time for everybody to get on here. Okay, so hang tight. I'll be right with you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get this going here. So I know we've got a lot of information to cover with a lot of people on here. We're going to make sure you're getting all the information that you can get. So again, my name is Dr. Matt Link. I'm a pediatric and family chiropractic physician at the Walton Clinic of Chiropractic in Springfield, Illinois. I've been a chiropractor for, since 2007, late 2007, and I've been focusing more in the pediatric realm for, say, the last 5 years, I'd say. So roughly 2010, started focusing more pediatric. Just felt the need there to see and help kids. So as our viewers are joining on to the presentation, I'll welcome you guys. Like I said, my name is Dr. Matt Link, and just looking to, we want to provide a whole lot of information here because there's tons of information out there, and it's, kind of wading through and trying to figure out, okay, what's the best for my child. So, the information I'm going to give you is from the years of experience that I've had in our office treating, tons and tons of kids, my personal experience that I've had, raising my own child, and then, all the research that we've done as well. So let's get going on this. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the presentation here. And again, I want to continue to welcome everybody that keeps that's joining us with this presentation. All right, so here's the information we want to get through tonight. Okay, yeah, this looks like a lot of stuff. So bear with me. We'll work through it. I encourage everyone to take notes as we're going along. So if something catches your fancy, write it down. I'm going to give you my email address at the end of the presentation. So I encourage you to email me with any questions you might have following this. Okay, so let's get going with this. As a parent, there we go. Finally, all right. As a parent, the decision to have a child is to accept that your heart will forever walk about outside of your body. Now, most of you out there that are parents, and I think you can relate to this. You're constantly, not necessarily on edge, but you want the best for your child, and your heart is just walking around without you, it seems like. So here's my small family, my wife, my young son, he's 4 years old. This is why I do what I do, because I see him, I see the joy and excitement that he gets out of life. And, like I said, with all the kids that we see in our office, I want to see that for other people too. I really do. And I think all families should be able to experience fun, joy, healthy living. Okay. So what I see in our office is a lot of this, and this is just a little bit of it, but, our kids crying, parents are upset because kids are upset. They're not sleeping very well. This is a little joke here, but, him saying, how do I put this? You will never sleep in again. Okay. And that can be very true because, time and time again, parents come in with their little one and they're saying, little Johnny is just not sleeping like he should, or here, little Johnny is just not pooping like he normally should, and that sounds funny, but if you're in that stressful situation, not so much. It's not very funny. And then getting our kids to eat right, That's a big one right there too. So let's keep moving on this. Okay. So first, I want to go through a few facts and stats just to kind of give us an idea of where we are as a community now. And then I'm going to start giving you some information as to, okay, what can we do to change some of this, okay? So first one, due to a poor diet, this generation of children has a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And that's for many reasons, diet, exercise, just overall just not taking care of ourselves as well as we should. So, and this comes from medical doctor David Katz. Okay, here's some stats here. Children using amoxicillin, so antibiotics for earaches, just say, suffered 2 to 6 times more recurrent infections. Okay, and children treated for streptococcal tonsillitis suffered 2 to 8 times more reoccurrence. So just looking at that right there tells me, okay, we're putting them on the antibiotics to get rid of stuff, but for some reason this stuff keeps coming back. Okay, and believe me, through this presentation, I'm not here to just knock any profession. I'm not here to knock any type of treatment, but I want to say we need to open our eyes to what's going on, not just take it as, well, that's just the norm. Okay, so another study shows that the younger the age at which antibiotics are prescribed, the younger the age at which asthmatic symptoms have been reported. Okay, so these are all studies that have been out there, and if any of you would like the references to these studies, I'd be more than happy to be able to provide those for you too as well. So, so why is that? When kids are on antibiotics at a younger age, why are they starting to show asthmatic symptoms at a younger age? Okay, these are kind of questions that we should be asking ourselves. Okay, we talk about ourselves. We want to be a drug-free America. We talk about the big drugs, cocaine, meth, and marijuana, whatnot. But look at this, this timeline. We're starting our kids on antibiotics at between 0 and 4 years old. Ritalin, ADHD medications. I'll have you know that Ritalin has not been studied on kids under 6, but over the last few years, there's actually been over a 300% increase in kids roughly 4 to 5 years old. Okay, so it's not been being studied on these kids, but it's being used on these kids, and that just to me, that's astounding. And besides the fact that Ritalin is actually in the same class, same category with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency as cocaine and meth. Okay, so our kids are using a drug chemically similar to those big drugs. Then moving on up, you can see the years here, and it's kind of funny, but it's not. We're hooked on these medications, but we want to be drug-free and be healthy. Some more stats: 1 in 4 children are obese. Nearly 50% of obese adolescents remain obese as adults. Okay, so and mainly a lot of that stuff comes from habit, which we'll talk about a little bit here. Okay, in the last 20 years, type 2 diabetes has increased tenfold. Okay, so that's crazy too. And so there's something out there where there's tons and tons of medications for all this stuff, but unfortunately, the stats show we're not becoming healthier. Okay, so we need to change this. By the age of 12, that should be the age of 12, an estimated 70% of our children have developed beginning stages of hardening of the arteries. Can you believe that? 12 years old, hardening of the arteries. That's crazy. And over 93% of children and adolescents do not consume the recommended 3 servings of vegetables per day. So that tells me only 7% of our children are eating healthy. Okay, so I don't know, how do we expect our children to grow up and be healthy if we're not teaching them to be healthy? Another study published in the journal from the American Medical Association themselves: iatrogenic deaths per year. I challenge you to look this up, okay? Because iatrogenic is basically disorders, deaths that have been caused by essentially medical error, okay? So look at the numbers here: 12,000 unnecessary surgeries, 7,000 medical errors in the hospital, 20,000 other errors in the hospital, 80,000 infections in the hospital, 106,000 people died per year from non-error, which are negative effects from drugs. So you're looking at 225,000 deaths per year from a physician's activity, what their manner, or the therapy that they provide. Okay, so looking at those numbers, again, I'm not here to knock medical physicians by any means, but something's not right here. Okay, we're doing something wrong as a whole. Okay, so we need to change who we are, what we do, how we live our lives, so we're not one of these stats. So our kids are not one of these stats. Okay, so I had 225,000. I had to give that something to compare it to. Okay, and here's the stat that I found. Depending on the seating capacity of a 747, that is between 340 and 540 of those Boeing 747 crashing each and every year. Okay, now answer me this: if you knew that 340 planes were crashing each and every year, would you fly? I don't know that I would. I'd be driving. Okay, because as it shows, those iatrogenic deaths are actually the third leading cause of death, right after heart disease and cancer. Okay, so again, we need to be doing something different. Thomas Edison, most of you may know, he's the reason why we have electricity. Well, not necessarily electricity, but the light bulbs in our rooms. Okay, he says the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and the cause and prevention of disease. I've often heard that medicine is actually, looking at what causes people to die. Okay, we want to look at what causes people to live and expound on that and help people live healthy lives. All right, so how do we do that? Okay, so as we're going through this presentation, I want you to be thinking about the 3 T's. Okay, now those 3 T's stand for toxins, thoughts, and for trauma. Okay, throughout our lives, different problems that develop can develop because of essentially one of those 3 things. Okay, so let's move on. Basically, with your family, it's time for an audit. Okay, you need to be serious. You need to be honest with yourself and with your family. How much sugar does your family consume? Actually, most cancers actually thrive in sugar, within a sugar environment. So providing more and more sugar to you, to your body, to your child's body, as actually begins to be a feeding ground for cancer. And sugars provide no vitamins or minerals, and they actually deplete your body when they're metabolized. So when that sugar is burned in your body, for energy, essentially, it requires vitamins and minerals for that metabolization to occur. So it's actually taking those needed vitamins and minerals from your child's body. Okay, so high insulin also levels depress the immune system. Kids who have a high sugar diet tend to have a lower immune system. They're sick more often, and then they're sick for longer periods of time. And then especially with babies, if mom is on a high sugar diet and that mother is nursing her child, that can be passed along through the breast milk to your child. You need to do an audit of how many processed foods are in your home. Okay, you go back to the caveman days. Everything was all natural, and I'm not going to get into an organic kick or anything like that here, but a lot of the processed foods in our homes nowadays, we're looking for that quick meal, but our body doesn't know how to extract all the nutrients, if there are any nutrients in those foods. Okay, so eating as much fresh foods as you can will actually provide a healthier environment for your home. And I understand a lot of this stuff is stuff you've probably heard before, but like I said, I want to package it all together so it's easier, because a lot of people don't understand or don't know what the detriments are that they're doing to their bodies. Okay, I want you to do an audit of how many fresh fruits and vegetables your family consumes, and how much water do you or your kids drink. Okay, our bodies need those fresh fruits and vegetables because we're not getting those. Okay, there's tons of vitamins and minerals that are packed into fruits and vegetables, the fresh ones. So we need to start consuming those. I always encourage families to get out like a notebook or a journal or something like that and start writing stuff down. Start today, start tomorrow, whatever. Just okay, our family ate this today, our family ate that tomorrow, and then do that I do that for a couple of weeks. You look back and you start. Most people are like, wow, I didn't realize all the sugar or the bad foods that we were eating. I didn't realize that. Most people don't until they actually see it on paper. So that's something that I would highly encourage people to do. Here's a funny picture that I found. Someone pouring Coke on a plant. Would you expect this plant to live, okay, if you were watering it, air quotes here, with a can of Coke? Okay, no. So how would you expect your body to live and thrive if you're feeding it all this sugar all day long? Okay. Now, most of you may be saying, I don't eat. Me or my child doesn't eat that much sugar throughout the day. But like I said, I would do an audit. Sit down, write it out. I think you'll be very astonished as to how much sugar is actually in your diet. Okay. So how much water should you be drinking per day? Statistics show that you should be roughly drinking about half your body weight in ounces. So if you have a 100-pound person, divide that in half. So that's 50 pounds. So you should be drinking about 50 ounces of water per day. Okay. So if you're 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water. Now, for some of you, it may sound like a lot, but starting off slow and building up to where you're drinking more water is going to allow your body to heal and function and thrive more appropriately. Vegetables and fruit, that's a big one. Okay. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that our family is perfect at eating all these vegetables and fruit day in and day out, but we try. Okay. We work and do our best to do this. Okay. If you're a family that doesn't eat much, if any, fruit or vegetables at all, I suggest starting slow. Okay. Kids are usually pretty picky, as we know. So, starting slow, today, add in something that you think that they might like. Okay. Even help them, allow them to maybe pick out a fruit or vegetable that they might want to try. Okay. Make it fun, add color to the fruits and vegetables. Like I said, I'm going to go back to starting slow. Like I said, you start today. Okay. Then maybe in a day or two, add, do another fruit or vegetable. In a day or two, just start, slowly adding it every day or so apart. And then start adding it, maybe a couple times a day. And then, start adding some variety to the fruits and vegetables. So your bodies are getting more vitamins and minerals. Presentation, making it fun for them. How you present it to them, makes a huge difference. And then another big thing is make it readily available. Those marketing companies, they have it great. They have, fruit snacks in a little packet. They've got, applesauce and juice bottles and all these different things. They have it readily available. Okay. So I suggest that you take some time, maybe a couple nights a week, 15, 20, half an hour to prepare some fruits or vegetables. And then, like I said, have them readily available in containers, in baggies, stuff like that. So they can go to the fridge, go to the cupboard, and boom, there it is. They know that, all right, I'm not grabbing a juice box or something like that. I'm grabbing something like a vegetable or something. Okay. Strawberries, bananas, whatnot. Okay. Remove as many chemicals as you can. Okay, this is kind of a big one. Like I said, I won't go into a whole lot on this, but our body care products actually have tons of chemicals that some of through early studies show it might be cancer causing agents. So again, going as natural with your body care products as you can, especially for your kids. Okay, finding those natural body care products, and then the foods also. With fruit and vegetables. The pesticides, the chemicals they use for enhancing the flavor of them, and then killing off all the bugs, that's harmful for the body. Okay. So finding, again, going as organic as you can. Okay. finding what you can. If you can't do that, then make sure you're cleaning and washing off all the vegetables as you can. There's vegetable washes out there, like a spray that you can spray on your vegetables that are natural, that actually help remove the chemicals. So I would suggest looking into finding those. You can find those typically at health food stores, and some of the bigger stores are selling those now too. But another big thing is supplements. Okay, now you can do as good as you can and try as hard as you can to get all the water, get all the fruits and vegetables, eat healthy and whatnot. But our kids' bodies, there's still high potential that they're not getting what they need. Okay, so here are some supplements that I highly recommend. So omega-3, those fish oils, good for brain development, good for heart development, good for the cardiovascular system and whatnot. Vitamin D, especially now that we're starting getting into cold and flu season. My boss was actually sharing with me a study a day or two ago that the increased vitamin D in the body is actually being shown to be more effective at preventing colds and flus than getting the flu shot. So it's because it allows our body to deal with stress a lot better. Okay, so I'm not going to go into shots at all, but these are natural ways that we can help our children and ourselves, for that matter, fight like I said, cold and flu. Vitamin C, probiotics are good for tons of things. Good for digestive health. Good for allergies and whatnot. It's just a good overall healthy supplement and a good multivitamin that has a bunch of different vitamins within it. So if you guys have any questions about those, which products are good or better than other, I've got some suggestions, but you can always email me on that. Okay, so moving on. Here we go. All right, so another thing that I'm just going to touch on are alkaline versus acidic foods. An internal acidic environment is a virtual playground for bacteria, fungi, parasites to grow and multiply. Okay, so many diseases, including cancer, like I said, thrive in a sugar environment, and they also thrive in an acidic environment. So finding foods that are alkalinic will help your body thrive even more. Okay. So another thing I want to touch on here is getting dirty, getting active. Okay, we're into the toxins and stuff, but our bodies need a regular exposure to bacteria and germs to strengthen our immune system. So a natural strengthening of our immune system is actually going to help keep us healthy. Okay, if you think about, I don't know if you've ever been camping, but if you get some water out of a stream, you're not going to drink that water. You'd like to boil it first and kill off all the bacteria. So that's because that's harmful bacteria to your body. But also you want to think about, if a child has a temperature, monitor that temperature at first, because it's kind of the same thing. It's going to kill off the bad bacteria that's in the body. Obviously you don't want it to get too high, but allowing that temperature to kind of hold for a little while, not too long, will kill off the bad bacteria and actually help your child strengthen the immune system. Because the way the immune system works is there's certain cells in the body that will attack that bad bacteria, fight it off, and get rid of it. But then they'll also, because of that fighting, they'll leave a marker, okay, like a flag saying, hey, you know what, this is the bad guy. So the next time that your child's body gets attacked by that same or similar bacteria, it's able to hit it quicker, faster, and stronger, and there's going to be more of an army to be able to attack that. So getting some exposure to bacteria and germs is actually not a bad thing, okay? So we also want to improve your microbiome. So essentially the bacteria biology within your body. And improper balance is actually believed to be a primary cause of infection, chronic infection, inflammation, autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular diseases, chronic fatigue, cancer, and neurological problems such as Alzheimer's, autism, and schizophrenia. Okay, so when your body gets out of balance, things just aren't registering. So getting out there, and just like I say, getting active, allow your body to build up its own natural defense, will allow your child to thrive much better. Getting out and exercise. Exercise actually increases dopamine and norepinephrine, which are actually healthy neurotransmitters within the body. So it's going to help your child's body develop. Okay. So like I said, I'm not saying you need to let your child just, crawl through a puddle of mud and, drink the water or anything like that, muddy water, or anything like that. But like, again, getting out there, getting active is going to, help them build their immune system. Getting running, get them off the iPad, get them off the Wii. Okay. So getting them off the computer, getting some exercise, again, is going to help build their immune system. It's going to release the good chemicals in their body to help them, function better, and, burning off some of that steam too. I know as parents, it's good to get a good night's sleep, and if you're more likely to get a good night's sleep if your child's getting a good night's sleep too. So getting them worn out a little bit is not actually a bad thing. One thing I want to touch on is those antibacterial, soaps and the gels and stuff like that. There's good and bad with that, but just know that by consistently using that stuff is actually killing off the good bacteria. Yes, there is actually good bacteria in your body. Those antibacterial gels, they kill off everything. So over time, with repeated use, they've actually been shown to start decreasing one's immune system. Okay, so I would say I'm not saying don't ever use them, especially maybe if you're sick, you want to use them a little bit just to kill off some of the bad bacteria. But using them all the time is actually starting to become a bad thing. Again, like I said, it's killing off it's killing off both good and bad bacteria. All right, so here's where we've been so far. Talking about taking an audit, getting out there, getting active, getting dirty, building up our immune system. That's what's one thing. A couple of things that are going to keep us and our children healthy. Next thing is thoughts. This is the second T that I mentioned. So we got toxins and we got thoughts. Okay, so jokingly I say it's all in your head, but there's a lot to be said about stress. Okay, from the day that your child is born, the day that you were born, there's stress. Okay, they're nice, warm, and comfy in the mother's womb, and all of a sudden, boom, they're out in a cold environment and they're under stress. Imagine if you were naked and it was the middle of winter and it was 2 degrees outside and you got thrust outside. Think how cold that you would be with that. So when there's a stressful pregnancy, a stressful delivery, all that gets passed along to the child, and the child, from like I said, the instant they're born, has the higher potential for stress. Today, our fast-paced, our high-stress lives, we as parents, we do that. We're in this activity, that activity. Our kids are in all sorts of different activities. They're rushing from here to there. All that builds up within a child and actually releases chemicals within the body that actually causes breakdown, organ failure over time. Causes us to gain weight. When we live a high-stress lifestyle, cortisol builds up in our body and actually causes us to gain weight, hold on to weight, and actually can, cause our muscles to weaken, and just tons of different things. And our kids deal with bullying. It's definitely more talked about nowadays. If your child's a bully, or two, if your child's being bullied, okay, we need to identify that, and both situations we need to identify that and have a talk with that child and work through it. Okay, maybe there's a reason why that child's being a bully. Okay, so we need to figure out why that is. And again, help that child be more healthy. Okay. What do you complain about? This is a big question. Like attracts like, because when we're complaining about, as parents or teachers or whatever, we're complaining about money. We're complaining about, our car doesn't work, or I don't like our house, or I'm overweight, stuff like that. Our children hear that. Okay. And by hearing that, ourselves, we start to identify that more, and that brings more of that bad stuff into our lives. So learning to talk positively, especially to yourself, but especially around your child, teaches them to do the same thing and see all the good things in their lives. Actually helps decrease stress, and that actually helps them live a happier and fuller, more productive life as well. Just an example of that. Like attracts like. Imagine you buy a new car, and you're thinking the day before, you're like, oh, nobody has that car, so I'm gonna go out and buy it. So you buy it, and what is it? The next thing you know, is you're driving at home, and the person across the street, they have the same car. Your neighbor has the same car. You drive to the grocery store and you see the same car. You start attracting that, and you start becoming more aware of it in your life. And it's not that those cars weren't there yesterday, but you're becoming more aware of it. And so again, if you're negative, you're becoming more aware of those things. If you're positive, you're going to become more aware of those as well. And another thing that I think is great for kids are affirmations. And if you're not sure what those are, essentially it's a positive self-talk. So you're talking to yourself in a positive manner, and that's stuff we can teach our kids, because teaching, what I think is a great thing is to develop a phrase or several affirmations that you and your child can say that teaches them to I'm a great person, or just a bunch of different things that will teach them how to think positively of themselves, and again decrease the stress in their lives. Okay. So sleep kind of comes along with the healing and the thought process. With social, school, family activities, bedtimes can gradually become later and later for older children. However, sleep requirements remain just as vital for teenagers as they were for younger kids. Okay, sleep is when our bodies will heal. Okay, our bodies need that time to heal and allow us to reboot, essentially. And in our house, we don't necessarily have a set bedtime, okay, but we have an ideal time, and that's something that I've read and researched, and it seems to work with us. We're like, okay, we want to get to bed at this certain time, so we can plan our schedule backwards. Okay, we need to do this, this, and this to get to bed at this time. So that's one thing I always highly recommend to people, is plan for the ideal time. Yeah, will you hit it all the time? Not necessarily, but just shoot for it. That's going to work. And that's going to help your child get on more of a kind of a flexible schedule, so to speak. But also knowing your child's tired signals. And as parents, hopefully you know what this is. So oftentimes they'll start getting a little bit grumpy, or they might start acting out just a little bit or something like that. Just knowing those little signals and know, okay, little Johnny's got to get to bed. Okay. We can't be doing any other activities. We just need to get to bed. Or, if it's already late, okay, we'll try to get to bed, earlier tomorrow night or something like that. But knowing those signals, again, getting them to bed sooner will help their bodies heal appropriately. So here's a quick guideline. I can always email this to you if you'd like, but here's a good guideline as to how much sleep your child needs per day. Okay, for newborn all the way up to 18 years old. Okay. Some of these numbers may seem like a lot, but this is what the research shows that our bodies need, for the different stressors that are required in our lives. Okay. So finally, the final T is trauma. Okay. And I categorize that under physical stress that our bodies endure, especially our kids. Okay. Like I said, from the moment they are born, their bodies undergo significant trauma. Okay, I challenge you to go onto YouTube, okay, and just search, like baby C-section or baby delivery or something like that, and you'll if you haven't experienced it yourself, because hopefully most men haven't, they know what kind of trauma that is, especially with the child. There's research out there that shows that when a baby is born, whether it's either vaginally or via C-section, okay, there's as little as 60 pounds of force that's placed on a child's head, neck, and spine. Okay, 60 pounds. Okay, so if you imagine, say, I know this is a big child, but say your child was 10 pounds. Okay, I know most are 6, 7, 8 pounds, but say, let's just make it easy, 10 pounds. Okay. And, if I were standing there, or a doctor or somebody was standing there holding your child by the head, what would you do? Okay. I would imagine if they're sitting across the room, you come flying across the room and deck of one. Now that's only 10 pounds of force there. Now imagine when they're pulling both C-section and delivery, and they're putting 60 pounds. I've seen research as much as 90 or even 100 pounds. That's stress on the spine. Okay. Now, here's a lot of things that parents don't think about when I'm doing an initial evaluation and a child's coming in for a problem, most of the time, and I ask, okay, was there any trauma? The birth trauma is kind of ignored by the parent, possibly. But here's another thing: when kids are learning to walk, how many kids do you actually see that just get up and walk and they never fall down again? Yeah, I haven't. Okay, they're usually pulling themselves up. They wobble a little bit, and boom, they're on their butt. They're falling forward on their face. That repeated trauma can cause damage. Okay. Learning to ride a bike, so those slips and falls, down the stairs or slipping in a puddle on ice, whatever, on a slick hardwood floor, something like that. All that stuff over time causes problem. Sports, it seems like kids are starting sports younger and younger, and they're getting more and more. You can see here's little kids playing football. Those repeated impacts are causing problems. Okay, and here's something that we're starting to see more and more in our office, problems due to our technology. Okay, more and more kids. These are a little bit older kids, but just look at every single one of these kids. They're looking down. They're looking forward. That starts putting stress on the spine. It's putting stress on other joints, and it's causing problems. We're seeing, like I said, I'm seeing it more and more and more in our office. Okay. Now, one of the things that goes along with this is the nervous system. Okay. The nervous system controls and coordinates the function of every cell, tissue, organ, and system in your body. So like your reproductive system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, endocrine system, the hormones, stuff like that. This is from Gray's Anatomy, which is like essentially the Bible for medical doctors and physicians. Okay, so and essentially this goes back to, I'd say, the fourth or fifth grade science class when we're talking about the nervous system and what it controls. Okay, so if there's a problem with the nervous system, a physical stress, trauma to the nervous system, to me, that can potentially harm and damage your child's function. Okay, so one thing that can cause harm to that system, the nervous system, are things called subluxations. Now that's just a fancy $50 word for a misalignment of a joint, specifically of the spine. Okay, and those subluxations with that misalignment, puts stress on the nervous system and makes our child's bodies, our bodies, more susceptible to the chemical stresses, to the emotional stresses, the physical stress. So there's a stress already there, and now our bodies are even more susceptible to those problems. Okay, so here's a study in his research of studying over 1,000 infants. This Dr. Gutman, medical doctor, found that spinal injury and nerve dysfunction was present in 80% of those infants. Okay, so that's a pretty significant number there. You may be thinking, well, my child doesn't have any spinal misalignments, but it's pretty likely that they might have. Going by this study, and I'm going to show you another study here in just a second. Okay, so our brain sends a signal. It sends constant signals down the spinal cord out to all parts of the body. Okay, so if I go back here a little bit. The brain sends signals to all parts of the body, going to all these different organs. If there's a disruption in that signal, okay, it's going to cause problems. Okay, if there's a misalignment, it's going to pinch off one of those nerves or choke one of those nerves and cause problems. Here's another study. An osteopathic doctor studied over 1,500 babies over an 8-year period, and she studied these babies within 24 hours of them being born. She found that over 90% had suffered birth trauma, and it's associated with strain through the neck. So that goes back to what I had talked about earlier, with the force that's used when a baby is delivered. Okay, so most of the times, I'd say a good 99.99999 100%. In fact, of the time, your baby is not going to say, "Oh, I hurt here, I hurt there." You know, sometimes our kids might start saying, "Oh, mom, dad, you know, I hurt here, my back hurts," stuff like that. You know, showing signs of pain. Okay, but pain is only about 10% of what the nervous system does. There's another 90% that does so many other things, controls how our body functions. And here are some of the symptoms, quote unquote, that our children can actually start showing to us, saying, "Hey, there's something wrong with my nervous system." Okay, so we see a lot of kids in our office with ear infections, you know, hyperactivity, headaches, asthma, you know, scoliosis, sleeping problems, reflux, colic, you know, the list goes on and on and on. Okay, so all that is because there's a disruption with how the nervous system is functioning. Okay, so you know, imagine if you came home, you know, late one night, you know, the whole house was dark, you flipped on a light switch, lights didn't come on. You go to the next room, flip on the light switch, light doesn't come on. Go to the next room, light doesn't come on. I mean, would you yell down the hallway, say, "Hey, honey, grab me the box of light bulbs because all the bulbs are burnt out"? No, you wouldn't do that. I would hope you wouldn't. I would hope that you would go to the breaker box and determine if the breaker has been blown. Okay, the nervous system is kind of the same way. It's the breaker box, you know, for your body, for your child's body. Okay, so we want to figure out where the cause of the problem is, and determine, okay, which room, which area of the body is that going to. Okay, so you know, we kind of joke about this in our office, but I found this great picture, so I thought I'd throw it into this presentation. If your spine was on your face, would you take better care of it? Okay. Yeah, I think you would, because, you know, most people take good care of their teeth. They brush, you know, once or twice, 3 times a day. They go to the dentist. People exercise. You know, they comb their hair. They get their hair cut. They take care of the outside appearance because we can see that. But like this picture says, you know, if your spine was on your face, you know, I think you'd take better care of it. You know, especially since knowing that it houses your nervous system. You know, your child is under such stress when they're growing that it's best that you want to take care of their nervous system as well. Okay, here's a great quote: that you cannot be in growth and protection at the same time. Okay, so you know, how do we expect our kids to grow and be productive and live healthy, full lives if their bodies are constantly under stress? Okay, from either, you know, protecting itself from the toxins, you know, protecting from different bad thoughts or bad things that are going on in their lives, protecting, you know, if there's physical stress, there's stress to the nervous system. If there's that stress, their body's not going to be able to grow optimally. Okay, so here's just a slide, you know, of myself, you know, adjusting kids. You know, chiropractic for children is safe, it's effective, it's gentle. It's not like, you know, most people think of when they're, you know, as an adult going to a chiropractor. You know, this is just a small handful of the kids I've treated over the years as a chiropractic physician. Okay, so parents know their kids, the healthier, productive lives, they're able to deal with those stresses much better when their nervous system is functioning better. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. You know, Albert Einstein says no problem can be solved from the same consciousness that created it, and we must learn to see the world anew. Okay, so as I started the presentation out, I was talking about all the different, you know, obesity and antibiotics and stuff like that. You know, we're trying to be healthier in our lives, but we're not moving in that direction. Our kids are not expected to live longer than us, so we gotta change. We gotta change how we're approaching things. Okay, so you know, the eating healthier, exercising, allowing our nervous systems to thrive. You know, allowing, you know, our immune systems to thrive. And by the way, the nervous system controls the immune system, so allowing that to function better is optimal. Okay, here's another great quote by this author here. And I don't want to be morbid with this, but we all die. The goal shouldn't be and isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will. And you can create something by teaching your child, your children to lead better lives, to eat healthy, to exercise, to do the things they should be doing. And that's going to build a legacy for yourself, for your family, and allowing your family to thrive. Okay. So you're creating something that will. So taking these steps, like I said, hopefully you wrote a lot of this stuff down that you can kind of expound on yourself, or ask me more questions down the road. I'd love that. But that's my goal for this presentation, is to create something that's going to touch more people and allow them to lead healthier lives. Okay. So finishing up here, I want our kids to be superhero kids. Okay. Again, doing all the things that we can do. I mean, are we going to be perfect in what we do? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not perfect either, but doing what we can to help our kids, get excited about living healthy lives and productive lives. Okay. So finally, here's my contact information, our office information, my email address that you can email if you have any questions about the presentation, our office website, which, you may be already watching the presentation on. I encourage you to follow us on Facebook if you're a Facebook person. We post stuff about different health-related events, chiropractic, what people can be doing to lead healthier lives as well. So I encourage you to follow us there and just see what we're doing. Okay. Finally, in closing, a lot of you may be out there wondering, I wonder if there's something wrong with my child's nervous system, or if there's stress on the nervous system that could be not allowing them to be as healthy as they need to be. Or maybe there's something wrong with my nervous system. Maybe I have one of those subluxation, those big fancy words that I said was a misalignment. So I would encourage you to get your child checked. If you're not in the Springfield area, I would encourage to find a good family pediatric chiropractic physician. If you're in this Springfield area, by all means, give our office a call. Okay. In talking with my boss, what we decided is if you give our office a call before the end of this week, so September, I think it's the 18th, Friday, call before the end of the week, what we want to do is just schedule you for a special time to come in, talk about, anything that, to see if, something we can help with. Okay. So we're offering, a consultation, an exam, and to sit down and see. So, and all that is at no charge. Okay. Because we want to help. Okay. Our goal is to help. And then, like I said, to touch as many lives as we can, to create a healthy legacy for you and your family. So from now between the end of the week, okay, give our office a call. We'll get you scheduled, even if it's for next week or the week out or whatever. But give us a call by the end of the week. Just mention that you heard about us from the webinar, okay, and then we'll know what to do from there. But again, by the end of the week, free consultation, so we can sit down and talk about problems, whether it's chiropractic, nervous system, health, whatever. We can sit down and do a full examination. I don't know if we'd be able to help with something, but if we just sit down and talk about it, I'd be able to answer what questions and then point you in the right direction. Okay. So, hope you got a lot out of this webinar. If you'd like more information down the road, again, feel free to email us, and again, mention that you heard us on the webinar. If you have any questions about this webinar, email me about that too. But I hope to hear from you. So hope everybody has a great night, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.